Hey, here's another question from one of my students that she sent over to me, and I believe that this question is from UWorld. So anyone who's using UWorld, this might be familiar to you. If you haven't seen it yet, you're gonna get a bonus today. So this is a priority question. I love, love, love priority questions because one of the biggest things that I teach my students is to always think about outcomes. You have to have the intuition and that critical thinking to be able to look at the data you have and determine what the outcome is going to be. And that's super helpful when finding a priority. So this question is asking which client should the nurse assess first, right? There it is, boom, priority. And it's telling us that we receive report on 4 assigned clients. So the nurse receives report on 4 assigned clients. Which client should the nurse assess first? So we have a client 1 hour post laparoscopic cholecystectomy for gallstones who reports right shoulder pain. Client 4 hours post tracheostomy who has a small amount of pink drainage on the tracheostomy dressing. Client 48 hours post abdominal hysterectomy who is ambulatory and reports aching in the right leg. Or client 3 days post open gastric bypass who reports fever and foul smelling discharge at the surgical site. So who is our priority? Every time we have a priority question, it's so important for you to think about what is the worst potential outcome, right? That's who you're trying to get on top of. That's what you're trying to avoid. That's what you're trying to address right now because we don't want the worst potential outcome to happen. So if we look at A, this person is experiencing an expected outcome. So cholecystectomy, removal of the gallbladder, who reports right shoulder pain, well, that's referred pain. That's something that is an expected outcome. So that's not our priority. Same thing with our second client here, or second option. Client 4 hours post-trach, small amount of pink drainage on the dressing, that's an expected outcome. C and D though, if we look at C, 48 hours post-abdominal hysterectomy who's ambulatory and reports aching in the right leg. Thinking about outcomes, that outcome points to a DVT. D, 3 days post-open gastric bypass who reports fever and foul smelling discharge at the surgical site. That's not a good thing. This indicates infection. So now I'm left with these 2 patients. Between C and D, C being our DVT or D being infection, which one's a priority? Which one has a worse potential outcome? Certainly C, because that DVT we know can dislodge, travel, end up in the lungs, and turn into a pulmonary embolus, which could be fatal for the client. We don't want that to happen. So when we stack C and D next to each other, that DVT that could turn into a pulmonary embolus is more of a priority than somebody who might be experiencing an infection. So in this question, C is the correct answer.